What's up guys, this is Austin with Hot Rod Heaven. We're here in Los Angeles, California. I'm here with Tony. We're gonna talk to him about this ride. It's got a lot of history to this car, so I'm excited to dive in and hear a little bit about the stories and the details of this ride. So Tony, do you wanna go ahead and tell me what kind of car and the backstory behind this is?
Alrighty, it's a 1970 442 W30. My dad bought it in 1981. I was 3 years old when he got this car. I have a picture of my mom holding me next to the car when he got it. But he bought it, he did the standard street racing, cruise the boulevard for about 10, 12 years to about 92-ish, right in there. And then we kind of redid the car, and there's been a couple updates on it, but when he bought it, it just had the original motor in it. We still have the original motor.
You do have the original
We still have
motor.
the original motor that came in the car.
That's so awesome.
And we kept that off to the side. I mean, it was only like a high 12-second car back then.
Yeah.
But in the 80s, that was pretty substantial.
Yeah, it's the bee's knees, man.
And I just loved it. This is what got me into racing. It's a good and bad thing because I love the sport so much, and you know, we spend a lot of time doing it. But this is the car that started it all for me. Everything. Riding in the back seat at 8 years old, cruising the boulevard just got me hooked. Changing tires from radials to slicks on the side of the road.
Yeah, man.
It just got me all hooked on it.
Yeah,
so.
that's awesome. It's so cool that you still have this, and we have his dad actually sitting behind the camera here. He showed us a little poem that he wrote in the 90s. I'll put that on screen so you can see it. So it's cool that how much history and how long this car has been in the family, and I think it's super cool that you still have it now and you guys still drive it a lot.
Yeah, we do. I still get with it. You know, it's not so much street raced anymore. It is fast. It's a mid 10-second car on the motor. When we redid it in the 90s, Mondello was really huge into these. Obviously, everybody knows Joe Mondello. And he gave us a lot of parts for it off one of his original cars called the VO Twister. And it had a bunch of parts from that, and that was in it for a number of years until I was street racing it one night, actually with him out at the races, racing my nephew, and it kicked 2 rods out of the oil pan.
Oh, man.
And that's no joke. It launched them out of it, and that's when we started to build this motor. So the motor is stock block 455, and all the main caps have been cut down. They have metal straps on them to kind of stabilize them. It's got a stroker crank in it, a longer rod, and we ordered custom pistons for it, so it's 13-to-1. I like compression in all our motors. It makes more power. The heads are Performer RPM Edelbrocks. They work really well. We went through all those. Jason Pettis at Pettis Performance did the cylinder heads. It's got titanium retainers on it and good valve springs. It's got a single plane intake, a torquer. That's their standard intake for all these, I guess. That runs real well. Topped off with a 1050 CFM carburetor. It runs really well. So the transmission is the original trans that came in the car. It's a Turbo 400, and we had it all gone through by Mike's Transmissions. It's got a manual valve body because the original trans is just, you put it in drive and it just shifts itself, and the clutch packs and everything and the valve body for that isn't strong enough to hold us. It always slipped into gear, so pulled it out. Had it all redone. Mike's Transmission is local to us, and the transmission is mint. It's got a set of 2-inch hooker headers to 3-inch collectors. It has 3-chambered Delta Flow Flowmasters on it, and then tailpipes all the way out to the back, just to give it that, it's a little poppier when it comes out the back, and the compression, and the camshaft. The camshaft is a hydraulic roller. We didn't want to have a solid roller in this, and it's slightly aggressive. It's got a lot of duration in it. I don't know the exact specs, but it just sounds good and runs good, and that's why I left it at that.
Tell me what kind of wheels and tires that you have on the car here.
So these are a Centerline Telstar. We got them years and years ago. I used to have Kragers on it. Kragers have that nostalgia look. Totally. And I got these probably 16 years ago, 17 years ago, and I didn't want something that looked so modern on this car because it's a muscle car. The tires are a 28-inch tall drag tire because it's so heavy that some of the tires bulge out and look funny, so it just works well on it.
And then what about the rear tire?
The rear tire is a Mickey Thompson ET Drag 29.5 10.5 on a 10-inch wheel. Just tucks underneath there real nice.
What are you rocking as far as
Stock.
the brakes are? Oh, the brakes are all stock.
Stock suspension all the way around. Stock
Really?
brakes all the way around.
Oh my gosh,
There's
that's
nothing
wild.
done. These are the original springs from 1970 in this car.
Oh my gosh, dude.
And the only thing that we added is in like 1993 or 4, we added a set of ladder bar ladder bars that bolt to the end into the body to help it, and that's been on there since then.
And the rear end and everything is
the rear end
no,
the original rear end. My dad exploded. We still have the housing that came because so the numbers matching housing.
Yeah, for sure.
But we wanted to do something where we could put a spool and a lot more gear in it, and it's got 35 spline axles now.
Okay.
So everything that's original that we didn't want to break or ruin, we took out. The trans, it's just a case, it's original trans, but the chance of that exploding and causing damage are pretty slim. But
I saw the clip of you, I think it was you driving the car at the drag strip, and this thing it'll get up, man.
It tweaks up. It went a 144 60 foot on the motor and 1083 or something like that, and then we had a little bit of nitrous on it. It went 134 60 foot.
So let's talk about the interior a little bit. This is also all original, correct?
It was redone in the 80s, and we just take care of it so it just kind of looks okay from there. It's almost time for a redo. The dash is 100% original.
That's awesome.
The carpet we did in like 92-ish. My brothers and I, that's not a carpet kit, we actually made it.
Oh,
really? It needs some redoing. The door panels are all original. There's a little bit of wear on it, but that's from 1970. It's original. I don't want to put a roll bar in it. It's not that car. It's an old street car muscle car.
Yeah, dude,
that
100%.
American Graffiti style, cruise the boulevard and take my dad to dinner. And that's all I want to do in it. It doesn't matter how fast it is anymore. They came with a different shifter, and that shifter was put in before my dad bought it in '81, and nothing's been changed on it. It's just the shifter that I can remember.
Yeah.
So
that's so cool, man. From a little kid riding in the back seat to now driving your dad in this car, man. That's so cool, dude.
It is a good story about it. I would just wait in school till Saturday, and I couldn't wait till we took the car out again, and and that was my obsession with this drag racing.
That's so cool, dude. Well, I say we hop in the car and go for a cruise, dude. I want to see. Yeah, man, let's do it. I think it's pretty incredible that your dad just held on to this for that long, and then even you yourself has just held on to the car, and this is definitely one you can't let go, man.
Not at all.
It'll be something that will be fully regretted if you do.
No, it'll never go anywhere. I'll probably end up getting buried in this car.
Yeah, I totally understand that.
It's funny that I grew up with this car as a muscle car, and I like Fox bodies.
Yeah.
That
is funny. And it's wild, speaking of Fox bodies, like, guys, I don't know if you know, Tony is part of AVBOYS. He went viral before going viral was even a thing.
I didn't even know what was going on.
Yeah, do you want to tell me like a little bit about that story?
Well, the most common one was we had a car called the Gray Mare, and just doing street races all over LA and the Valley and stuff. And then one time in Compton, I did a big wheelie across the intersection against a twin turbo Porsche, and it just caught on, and no one had ever seen that. I think what made it good or popular too is it was a stick shift car.
Yeah.
It was a 5-speed car, and it just where I still didn't even know. Like, everyone was like, "Oh, it's pretty popular." And I'm like, yeah, let's just go racing. Like, I didn't care. And then it just got more and more. And it's just like, people still come up to me today, even though that was 10 years ago, and say, "Oh, yeah, you raced a Porsche." And I'm like, yeah.
Like, yes, I did.
Yeah, I did. There was other races too, but, but.
That's pretty wild, man. It's cool that this car got you kind of into that position.
Exactly.
If it wasn't for this,
I wouldn't have my knowledge or even meet the people that I've met. It's a chain reaction, like, because of this car I met my wife, and because of everything I met all the people, including you and your dad. Like, it resonates through everything, the car culture, and it's pretty awesome. I'm 45 now, and I was 8 years old sitting right there, like I said, watching this car's like a big boat, and it's just cool.
Yeah, dude.
And we live in the same town. I have the same car. And I've driven down the same boulevard that my dad has, that he used to cruise on. We used to park and set up races and go out to a place and change tires and race, and or just take cars from the boulevard and like, all right, let's just go punch off, and we just go punch off real fast, you know. And it was just amazing. And the car culture back then, you know, so in the 80s, you didn't have, Fox bodies weren't that relevant. You had Chevelles, Novas, these cars, like all muscle cars, Mustangs from the 60s and 70s. So no fuel injected, it was all carburetors and nitrous, and it was, I've seen a lot of stuff go on, and it just, like I said, it resonates through me because this car's it. So all those guys that had those cars, they're few and far between, but my dad still has the car from that era.
And it's wild too. I remember him saying off camera, he bought the car for like $1,500 or something.
Yeah, $2,500 in '81. Yeah, it was. It's like,
that's crazy. Yeah. And your mom is the one who like
wanted it
and helped him get it, which is, I think, is so freaking cool, dude. And your dad seems like so. He's like, oh my gosh, that thing is beautiful.
Yeah, every time I bring it out, he just stops what he's doing, and he just starts with this car. Like it's pretty crazy.
Oh my gosh! Wasn't ready for that one.
Yeah, that's the best ones, right?
Dude, that was, I felt a pit in my stomach for a second there. Holy moly. Oh, that's awesome, dude. That thing gets up and goes, dude. Holy crap.
We can do it again if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down if you're offering. That's fun. Holy moly, bro, my stomach literally drops.
The solenoid still didn't work. I was on motor.
Oh my gosh. That is so awesome, dude. Holy moly. Well, that does it for this video, guys. If you like this, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more content like this with more hot rods, make sure that you subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you next time.